Hello, hello, and welcome to my Poetry Corner live stream. I think this is the third one I've done. That's the Poetry Corner stream. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Sorry. Uh, just trying to keep track of everything because I've kind of done a couple storytelling streams too. I've done quite a few streams at this point, I think. But today's stream is going to be a little bit shorter than some of my other ones. I have places to be, metaphorically speaking. And so I'm going to be signing off a little bit early. So I'm only reading a couple of my own poems, and I'm cutting kind of like the classic canon poems that I normally do, um, because I kind of want to, today I just want to focus mostly on the people that I'm featuring. I'm featuring some very new friends, and I'm also featuring people who have been kind of in the same poetry community as me for years now. And people who I've admired for quite a long time. So I'm pretty darn excited uh, about this stream. I think that we're going to have a really lovely time. I'm also gonna, I know that nobody's actually here yet, but I'm gonna just kind of pop my different links in the chat for when people do arrive. And also, if you're doing a rewatch of this later on, so you can just kind of see those too. I'm gonna drop my hello. It looks like we've got a viewer. I'd love it if you'd introduce yourself. Especially, we got a couple people. Hello. I'd love it if you'd introduce yourself in the chat, especially if I'm reading your work today, so I can know that you're here and let you tell people about yourself. Thank you. Hello, Miss Leafy. How are you? Um, Thanks. I had some fun putting this outfit together. The lovely Miss Leafy is part of my Discord community, so I'm gonna drop that right here. I have a poetry and creative Discord community that is a really lovely community, and um, I love being part of it. It's been really great, especially in these kind of we're in trying times right now, and it's nice to be able to just check in, talk about you know different stuff, sometimes like creative frustrations, sometimes just really fun stuff. Somebody shared some gorgeous photography of the snow on Forsythia on a day when I was really bummed out about the snow, and then I got to see something really beautiful that kind of inspired me again. It's just a great place full of lovely people, and I would love it if you join. Um, so here's my Discord community invite link. That'll work for today. Um, they only really last for a day. That's just how the Discord links go, so they don't. I think it's so they're not too long, because that way they can recycle the links. But I'm not. Don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure. Um, Pardon me. And then I'm also just gonna drop my Patreon and Ko-fi links right now, so I don't forget to do that. I, I put a decent amount of content. Hello, hello, Poet Rex. How are you? We're getting the gang all here. It's really lovely. I'm so glad you could make it. Um, yeah, I'm just right now. I'm just chatting for a little bit while people circle the wagons and dropping some links um, in my chats. So I'm just gonna drop my Patreon and my Ko-fi links really quick. I have a lot of content on both of these. Um, I've got more videos coming up on my Patreon too that are exclusive to Patreon, but I've also got chapbooks on both Patreon and Ko-fi. It's a pretty good deal, and if you like my stream but you'd like to see me have faster Wi-Fi so that it's a little bit clearer, or better mic, or any of those kinds of things, or just know that I'm doing all right, I would be very, very grateful. Um, and again, you do get quite a bit for it, I think. So it's a decent deal, if I do say so myself. But that's enough about me. Um, I'm going to start reading some poetry. And I'm going to start with um, the work of a poet who wasn't sure that he could be here today, so I'm going to assume that he can't be here and just kind of read his first. I've got two poems by Cruxymox on Tumblr. Hi, Amy. Oh, never mind. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start with yours then. So I'm going to start with one of Amy's poems. Her blog is a villainess on Tumblr. If you want to drop your link, I'll make sure everybody sees it too. But I adore Amy's poetry, and I saw this poem and I really wanted to read it, so I shot her a message. Her work is absolutely gorgeous and really heartfelt and inspiring, and I highly recommend following her if you're not already. She's a light in the poetry community, and I'm really happy to share her work with you. This poem is called Wandering Warmth. When I come home from the amber sunset with the ghost of my childhood in my throat, drowned beneath the ice of a frozen teal river, you're waiting with a blazing hearth in your arms, and I split like a bruised fruit between your fingers. The furnace glows, our bodies blurred by firelight, and I whisper about dreams and nightmares, how similar they've become in the dreary fields of forgotten memories, wreathed in the smoke. The rain-soaked woods beyond the glossy windows shudder and trace the bow of my very dark lips. You always return as shards of your mirror self, you whisper, hand engulfing mine and gentle fingers tangled into my hair, black as the night ocean reflecting the starless skies. Once upon a time I would have said nothing, but now I curl my head into the velvet of your neck to sigh about all the things I've lost and gained, how I can't let go of the petrified wings they clipped off my back, how the halcyon days stayed, soaked into the gray feathers. I murmur about all the things we cannot change, even if I can part the earth beneath my feet or unsettle the calm seas, of how the heart paths etched into the map will always guide me back to the golden grasslands, but I always draw my own home to the enchanted gloomy forest of undying rain. My breath still riddled with the wintry frost, and there's a bitter garnet resting on the tip of your tongue, and a stringent glaze over your teeth. I wish you still lived with your light-spun happiness, and there's a tenderness beneath the sharpness, honey over the serrated edge of your sleet-stained sentiments. I cradled your jaw with the softness of a ruby camellia, as if it could soothe the swollen joints and damp bruises you find, but we are not God's fulfilling wishes, and we submerge ourselves into the still waters of half-serenity, a saffron-tinted twilight. So yeah, I love this poem, and I am so glad that Amy let me share it with you guys. Absolutely go follow her. Thank you. I've been working on my reading voice a little bit. And I also just want to say hello to some people who dropped by while I was reading. Hello, JW. Hello, Opium and Tea. And hello, Aya. I'm also featuring Opium and Tea next. If you want me to introduce you by like your name, could you drop that in the chat? I couldn't find it on your blog. I checked really quick. Um, and I think I'll read yours next, actually. But thank you everybody so much for being here. It's nice having such a lovely crowd. And kind of knowing like I feel like I can really like rely on some of you guys to show up, and it's really sweet. Um, so yeah, I'm going to read Opium and Tea's poem next. Okay, I'm going to read William's poem next. Uh, it's whatever you go by if you, but I am very glad that you're letting me feature your poem. William's work is kind of new to me, uh, and I really liked this poem when I was going through. So, yeah, I'm gonna read it next. I heard you singing a song I wish I'd written, just to hear my words come out of your springtime mouth. I don't care what they say, just so long as they're mine, and they send me back down south. I already hated your favorite band. I barely even remember the name, but you spent more time with them, and you'd written their name in the sand. And I tried to be the sea that would wash over you, but I barely got past your feet. These puddles don't mean anything. I should have said something, but I thought I just meant nothing to you. Um, I loved a lot of the images in that poem, and I am very glad that you let me share it with people. Um, so yeah, that was a very lovely poem. I'm gonna read one of mine next. I think I've only got a couple of mine in the lineup today. Sorry, I'm getting a little hoarse. A little bit lame that I'm getting hoarse already, but that's just what's happening. I haven't been doing a lot of talking, um, just because you guys know how it is. Like there've been occasional like Zoom meetings with my friends and stuff, but not quite as many excuses to talk um, as usual. So my voice is a little rusty, but hopefully I'm doing okay. Hopefully I sound okay. Maybe my mic isn't picking up on it. I'd be very grateful for that. Um, but this is a little bit of a short one. I wrote this a little while ago. I was thinking about, well, it's pretty clear what I was thinking about once I read it. But once again, I got to get a little better at titling things. Yeah, so this is one of mine. I was born with a sort of flame waiting for the day it would meet my hand. I am relearning the name of anger. I will no longer run from its call and let it become a forest fire. With wisdom, I will temper it and wield it justly. So yeah, that's my poem, and I don't know. I think that I've been thinking a lot about just emotions and how I heard a while ago this expression that emotions are teachers, and even the negative ones can teach you really important things, but you need to be if you're open to those lessons, they won't control your life. And I don't know. I was a little bit of an angry kid. That always kind of surprises people, but I kind of pushed that emotion out of my life, and now I'm kind of trying to have a better relationship with anger, where it's not getting out of control and harming people, but it is, if you see an injustice, you should be angry and you should want to do something about it, and that's what anger can teach you. So yeah, no, that's kind of where that poem comes from, I guess. Um, so next, I think I'm going to read a couple of Cruxymox's poems. Tom, also known as Cruxymox on Tumblr, is a wonderful writer. He's also kind of a pillar of the poetry community on Tumblr. He is amazing about supporting a lot of different poets, and he's put together an anthology of different poets on Tumblr, and he's somebody who's supported me quite a bit. And very thankful for I'm thankful for his support, and I'm really glad that he's letting me read some of his poems. I'm actually reading two of his today. One's a little bit longer than the other, but I liked both of these, and I wanted to read two partly as just like a thank you for everything that he's really done for the poetry community. So yeah, these are the two poems. And also, I see that we've got like 10 viewers, which is really exciting. That's kind of a lot for one of these streams. If any of you guys want to jump into the chat and introduce yourselves, say hello, I'd love to hear from you. I'm going to be reading for the next couple minutes, but I'd love it if you'd say hi. All right. This thick glass, I press a hand, cold. It is an ocean, life teeming unseen. This, I should leave a mark, but there is none. Leave a hand, it is incorporeal. And I wonder from a distance, should there be a distance that one feels? Watching dandelions burst in an old video. Static, lined, what is this wind? I want to, glass. God's breaking, let everything rush in all at life teeming unseen, but watching. This portal so vast it is, and I press my hand to wish bursting shards, but not bleeding. I with this blood turned to yellow flowers, like a Van Gogh scene. Paint swims away softly, calm from my hand, still touching on, and hope soon to warm for these quiet bones of mine. Um, that one was really evocative. I didn't rehearse it quite enough to get the rhythm of the poem right. It's tough translating visual poems audibly sometimes, and I should rehearse that one a little bit more. But it's a really beautiful poem, and I've got it up on my side blog, Stained Glass Words, which I realize I don't have a link for, but I've got a side blog where I put people's poetry, and it's called Stained Glass Words because um, there's a feeling that like of inspiration that like looking at beautiful stained glass or that kind of thing gives me, and that poetry also gives me a lot of the time. So that's where the name of that comes from. But I can just type down the link really quick. But if you ever want to see the poetry that I'm reading, you can always check there. Um, so there's that link to that blog. But if you ever wanna catch up with good poets, beautiful contemporary stuff, I've got that blog there, and everybody who all the poems that I'm reading today are also featured on there. So I really should have mentioned that a little sooner, I guess. But yeah. So I have another poem by Tom. This one's untitled, but it's a little bit more intuitive to read audibly. So I think you'll like this one a lot. One cannot find the blackbird-like creatures, the furious beating of uncertainty's wings, the murder of angels. Here there are always angels spilling from this tongue. They escape the mask, still invisible to the eye, their loose wiring slipping through the cloth's pores in a warm sigh. Shining obsidian eyes, rolling in strange patterns. No child's game. No child's game. The sharp overgrowth one has cut themselves on in a field of self-doubt. Anything of any sort of constancy, but for an overwhelming desire for a bright spot in the tumultuous sky. Um, so yeah, I really like that one. Um, and now I'm going to read another one of mine. This one kind of picked up a little speed lately, so I figured I'd read this. I wrote this. I think I might have written this last winter. Um, I'm pretty sure I wrote this last winter, but um, yeah, it doesn't have a title, but I'm gonna call it. I think I'm gonna call it Upstate because it's kind of about the. It's kind of in tangentially, it's a little bit about like upstate winters and the way that we deal with them. I'm not gonna call it Upstate. We'll call this one Untitled. My heart is soft, but my skin is iron. What I mean to say is, my armor is hard, but prone to rust in the icy climate I live in. They salt the roads here so much that it kills the plants and rots the machines. They have to keep people safe. To keep me safe, I have a philosophy. Love everyone, trust no one. So I'm not good at growing and not good at staying whole, and my armor is full of gaps, and my heart is too soft not to be stung by tears. So, I love everyone and can't trust myself. Um, so yeah, I wrote that last winter, and it's always interesting looking at your own work and seeing how you feel about things, and because you don't always feel the same way, and that's one where I don't quite feel the same way. Um, and I can't explain exactly how, but it's just it's a beautiful poem, and I'm glad that I wrote it. But it's not quite where I am anymore. I think I'm a little less upset about being vulnerable. I think is the best way to put it. Um, thank you. Thank you very much. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna read a couple more poems. I've got two more poets who I'm featuring, and then I've got one more of mine, and that'll be it for today. I'm sorry it's a little bit of a short stream, but again, I got metaphorical places to go, so that'll be it. This one is by a small startup on Tumblr, and I'm gonna drop that link. This is another blog that's newer to me. I always feel like it's tough because sometimes I'll be featuring people who I've known online for years and read for years, and sometimes I'll be featuring people who are very new to me or very new to Tumblr and I don't know as well. So I always feel a little uh, like it's a little bit unbalanced because there's people that I can like gush about for minutes on end, and there's people that I'm just getting to know and getting familiar with their work. Um, but yeah, so that's all this is to say is that this is a blog. I think that works. Okay, yeah, it does work. Just had to make sure my link worked. Um, but I don't know. I always, I wish I could gush the same amount about everybody, but and I love the work that I'm featuring, but there's just people that I know a little bit better than others and a little bit more about to have things to say. Um, so this is by a small startup. I gaze at the evening sky, filled with all kinds of birds chirping. The parrots flying in flocks, the crows sharp enough to notice everything, the eagles high enough that they don't care what's going down. The sun sets in one corner, the moon now visible in between trees, in between clouds. All the birds fly back home, the pigeons finding shelter in tall buildings, the crows in the big tree. Suddenly the night grows dark, not because of the night or the clouds, rather something else is filling up the sky. I look up and find hundreds of bats all flying, filling the night sky with just enough space to reveal the moon, welcoming the full moon. Um, so yeah, I love that poem. I love how evocative it is of dusk and dusk specifically in a specific place. So yeah, I really love that poem. It's very lovely and very moving to me, and I hope you liked it too. Um, and this next poem is by Unsnarled on Tumblr. Bats are so cool. I was a bat kid. I went through a bat phase. I had this book about bats, and I was obsessed with bats, and especially I liked fruit bats or fox bats. I thought they were just the coolest creatures that there were. I still think they're really cool, but I had a fully just like obnoxious tell everybody about bats phase when I was growing up. I won't call it obnoxious, because I was a child and I should be a little kinder to my tiny self. And honestly, I wouldn't have been annoyed by somebody coming up and telling me all about bats. I think enthusiasm's really cool. But I know it's tough because there's so many. It's kind of hard to branch out on Tumblr sometimes, and because especially I feel like Tumblr, you kind of you make your niche, and if you're using Tumblr well, you make your niche and you get a place that's like it's comfortable, and you know you can kind of like rely on the people that are in your sphere, and you're not gonna run into too much trouble, because there definitely is trouble on Tumblr, and it's kind of hard to like branch out from there without like checking the poetry tag every night and searching and hoping somebody new pops up and it's not just the same people. So yeah, that's definitely one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, is that I think it's a great way to share with people that might be in different communities and kind of bring the community together and just show off people's work that's really moving. So yeah, I'm glad it's helpful. I'm glad you're finding this helpful. And I'm glad it's kind of working, I guess. Oh, please do. So Miss Leafy's gonna send me a poem about bats on the Discord. So if you want to check that out, I'm gonna throw the Discord invite in there for you guys. Oh yeah, that's lurking. There's a lot of good things about being a lurker on Tumblr. Sometimes I kind of have to push myself to be more active. It's I don't know, Tumblr's an interesting place. There is incredible stuff about the community, and there's stuff that's complicated. I think most online environments have an aspect of that, but Tumblr, it's a place where somebody can make a perfectly innocent comment about some kind of something or another, and all of a sudden 27 people are calling them a murderer. So uh, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but is it? But I don't know. I love my little niche on Tumblr. I've got a very nice community and a very nice place, so uh, I'm pretty grateful for that. But it's a wild west out there. But yeah, yeah, I totally get that. So this next poet who I'm featuring is Unsnarled, and this poem might I don't think this poem is titled, but I really really love it. Um, and here is this is one of the poems. There were a couple poems today where I saw them and I just asked, hey, can I please read this? Amy's was one, and this one is one where I saw it rolling across, and I was just like, please, please let me read this. Um, so yeah, this is another wintry one, so it kind of fits a little bit. I should have gotten these a little bit closer. I was born during a blizzard every year. I am born every year. Born on the day a saint clawed its way out of a martyr, a romantic horror. I am the blind daughter he blessed, sight restored, a relic fed only kindness, but every year I close my eyes and wake up to the storm. Quiet, quiet, I need to listen to the winds. Every blizzard I am spoken to. Breathing says, I am alive, not willing to go yet. I am alive, moving. I'll spread, I am cold and lungs moving, I conquer and I spread. And holding my breath is, done, we are done. I want the earth still, I am static, I am done, do not talk to me. If I am best with the wind I was born with, if everyone knows a bit more on certain days, I think that's how I reach the saints. I climbed the ice. Born, I was born sanguine in the colds. I fell onto this earth, and all I knew was snow. Um, so yeah, I love this poem. Oh, it's called Relic. It's part of a series, and this one is called Relic. Um, or that's the Oh, I think that might be a list of prompts that inspired this poem. Yeah, I can see. So if you're on YouTube, over in the Twitch comments, people are having a great conversation about Tumblr. Yeah, I think that definitely having the more you're seen on Tumblr, the more chances that there are to be yelled at, because people, every so often it's justified, but a lot of the times I think that people read things in especially bad faith whenever they can. Um, and Opium and Tea is saying, I can't wait to be condemned. Um, uh, which I kind of I kind of get that. That's great. Um, Also, guys, if you wanna like share your if you wanna share your Tumblrs, if you wanna share your work in the chat, please do. I'm doing this so that I'm doing this so everybody can see each other's work and so we can get closer together as a poetry community. Like, please always feel free to share your work here, and of course in the Discord, if you do want to join the Discord. I've got a whole place called a channel called the Promo Zone that's just for like promoing your own work, and sometimes I feel like people don't use it enough. Like, I want everybody to just feel comfortable sharing the gorgeous things that they're creating. So yeah, please let me know what you're doing. Uh, I've got one last poem that's mine, and then I'm gonna sign off for today. We got about half an hour out of this, so I think that's a pretty decent stream. But yeah, it was really really lovely to be able to talk to you guys today. Um, so yeah, this one's called Beats. It's not the official title, but I'm calling it Beats. I want to gather a heartier kind of words than the ones I dust off of scrubbed statues. I want ideas that are not smears of ancient ink gathered from the turning of faded pages. I want to pull my words up from the soil, wash them off, and serve them up deliciously. Um, so that poem's really special to me. It marks kind of a turning point in my writing. I still read a lot about like I guess like the classics, like mythology and that kind of thing. But for a long time, I felt like that was the like I wanted to seem very like knowledgeable and literary and smart in all my poetry, and I was always kind of trying to show that side of things. And I realized that that's not the most authentic to me and the way that I want to create all the time. There are times when that's what that's what's called for and that's what I'm feeling, but there are a lot of times when I want to write something that's more organic and more accessible, I guess, and more heartfelt. And literally, I look at back at that poem and I'm just kind of like, oh wow, that things changed after that. That's one of those things where I wasn't just saying something just for. I don't really do a lot of saying stuff just for the sake of saying it. Um, I don't think, but yeah, that was I was cooking dinner with some of my friends and we got some golden beets, and the next day I had some extra beets. They were really gorgeous beets. They looked like they were golden and they had a little like orange and pink to them and they looked like a sunrise. Like these were I cannot explain to you how gorgeous these beets were. And I had some leftovers and I was like cooking the beet, and I photographed the beets when I got done with them, and I was just like, this is beautiful in a way that I'm really connecting with. And I know that sounds very like just kind of like cheesy and kind of like cottagecore stuff, but although I am all about the cottagecore, but yeah, it was a change for me. So yeah, that's my last poem of today. This next bit's just gonna be me hyping my own stuff, and thanking you guys for being here. So that's what's up next. Um, I'm gonna drop my Patreon and my Ko-fi link. Coffee. I've heard it said so many ways. But I've got a lot of stuff. I'm a little bit behind on Patreon, I will admit. But I owe a couple videos. I do videos monthly, and I've got um, I'll do like writing advice kinds of videos on patron request, and I've got a patron request video that I'm kind of finalizing right now from March, and then I'll do one in April. So if you want to get in there, and you can be the patron request video for April if you want. Um, and I've also got all of my chapbooks on there, so you can read all of the chapbooks that I've created when you join. And then on my Ko-fi, I've got for $3. I think I've got like 4 or 5 chapbooks on there right now. So these are uh, a lot of them are like longer poems than I tend to post on Tumblr, but they're also more in depth. They're a lot of times I'll take a story and I'll create a story through poetry, and I'm really proud of them, and I think they're really gorgeous. And I'd love it if you wanted to check them out, and that'll help me do different stuff. Right now, I'm really trying to figure out a way to get better Wi-Fi in my apartment and afford that, so that my streams can be a little bit crisper and nicer, and also it'll just help me with a lot of different stuff. So that would be really helpful for me, because right now I'm kind of limited of what times a day I can even do streams, because I need to know that I have enough bandwidth available when other people in the building are using it. Um, I say other people in the building. I live in the apartment above my grandparents' house. Um, but so yeah, anyway, long story short, I'm kind of limited on the times that I can stream, and I'd love to do like a Friday night stream instead of just an occasional Friday afternoon stream. But yeah, that's kind of what I've got in the works right now. But here's the link to my blog if you don't follow me already. I think pretty much everybody here does. But here's my blog if you want to see more of what I write. And finally, here is the Discord. if you want to join my community. And I've also got just the Tumblr URLs of everybody that I featured today if you want to go give them a follow. And I highly recommend going and giving them a follow because I've featured some really lovely and amazing people. And a lot of the people that were in the chat I've also featured before. You can check out some of my old Poetry Corner streams if you want to see that, and I hope you will, um, because I've been really privileged to share some really lovely work. And that's about all I got for today. I am so thankful that you guys tuned in to see me. I love chatting with you. I love seeing you guys connect with each other too is really lovely. So yeah, I feel like we're starting to build something really beautiful here, and I'm so glad that all of you guys are here to be a part of it. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next week probably, but I'm also thinking about would this be a good idea? I'm thinking about on Friday, probably around 4 still. Um, I want to read T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland. That's a poem that I read. It's a very, very long poem. I read it in high school, and it was very meaningful to me in high school. My mentor, she didn't quite start the year because we went over our summer work, but my, she was one of my high school AP Lit teacher, but she's also my writing mentor, Nancy Defoe. She's amazing. But we read, all right, awesome. Yeah, it's gonna be. I think I will do it then. It's gonna be 4 p.m. on Friday. Um, but literally, she was like, okay, time for the real stuff, and she gave us this whole tour of all kinds of literature through the references and allusions in this one poem, and it was amazing. And the poem means a lot to me. And also, we're in the middle of the first line of the poem is April is the cruelest month, and we're in the middle of kind of a cruel April right now, and I feel like it's a little bit thematically appropriate. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, I think. So I'll see you guys on Friday for being here, and thank you. Everybody, take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay inside if you can. If you can't, take care as best as you can. Um, and I will see you soon. Bye bye, everyone.